what's going on, everybody? So let's get into this and let me show you these two more than likely scenarios where setting up custom supports will more than likely benefit you. So you see here how I have my bike, right? Now, if I print this without supports, I'm gonna get a lot of nastiness going on the second it gets to about right around here, right? So what I do is this, right? I extrude edges, which by itself is very, very simple and easy to understand, and people do this all the time. But what makes this a quote unquote technique is the way that I extrude edges and where I place them after I extrude them. So let me show you what I mean, right? So I'm gonna take these edges along this side, and this side, right? So let's do that, right? I'm gonna deal with the spots that I initially tested and got good results from. So I came here, here. I didn't go any further than that. So here and here, right? I'm not going to be worried about the other side because I'm just going to mirror it to the other side, right? So I'm going to extrude these edges. This, I always forget what this is called. I've been using Maya for so many years. I'm pretty sure I think this is the between global and local switch, right? So, or what it's called. So I'm going to click on this, and this is going to make it so that it's all the directions are global. So this is automatically going to be down with no ambiguity or coming in and out. So I'm going to extrude this down to here, right? Let's take this, object mode, right? Now, this is the key part in the technique for this particular um, situation and scenario, right? So, first thing I want to do is let's separate this, right? Let's just put this up so that I don't confuse anyone. So what I'm simply going to do here is extract. I am using my own custom shelves. And you're probably going to ask, how does this apply to you if you're not using Maya? I'm going to answer that question very, very shortly, right? So just pretend that you're coming out of a slicer right now. Okay, so cool. So first I want to do is fix this face, reverse it because it's reversed. Sometimes that happens when you're extruding, right? I can combine these just to make it quicker and easier. So what I want to do is I want to turn on these vertices and turn on these vertices. Let me grab this. Let me make my tool a little smaller, right? And I'm going to place this exactly where, hold on, where that vertex is. So it's 100% exactly where that vertex is. I'm going to do the same thing over here, right? I'm going to take this one, put this one here. I'm going to take this one, put this one here, right? So most of you are already getting the idea, basically. So I'm going to take this one. Let's actually put this one. You can put this one here. Take this, put this one there. Take this one and put this one here. Right? So as you can see, I already have this wall, which is not really a wall yet. It's just a plane. But you can see I already have this wall that's connecting perfectly to vertices. So I know that this is going to attach and print, and also it's going to print up, and this is going to provide support for all of this over here, right? Now I'm going to try to make this tutorial as short as possible, right? So um, I'm not going to do it for all of the edges that I did do it for. I'm just going to basically show you. So now, like I said before, this is just a wall, like I mean a plane. So this isn't going to even print if I do it. So I'm going to have to extrude this, right? And I'm going to come out on the Z, and as you can see, I'm going to make my Z 0.15. And if you notice, I'm extruding in the direction outside of the bike frame. That's important because remember, I want this to be as clean of a break as possible, right? So I'm gonna take this now. So now this is actual geometry, and this is gonna print, right? So If I wanted to flip this over on the other side, I mean, there's a million ways to do it. I'm simply going to group it, uh, dupe it, and negative, scale it on X, right? Then if I wanted to, I could just combine these. So this is going to be one support right here, right? So this I already know, as you'll see from the image on the screen. I've already printed up something similar. I did add a little bit more in my example, and as you can tell from the bottom of this model, you can't even really tell that there were supports on it, because where it breaks off, it's breaking off at the edges. And if your edges are sharp, then they're just going to be sharp edges. And if you do get a little bit of extra, a little ugliness going on over here, it's at a minimum going to be a very easy sand, and it's not going to be that inconvenient. Now, what I also did was is that I'm pretty sure this probably could have printed, but just to be safe, what I did was for this overhang over here, I pretty much did the same thing, right? But let me show you, because I'm not going to actually be connecting to the frame. So this is going to actually go to the floor, right? So I'm going to do the same thing, Control E to extrude, and you should be able to extrude edges in whatever 3D program you're using. So I'm gonna bring these all the way down. Now this doesn't matter where I bring them to, because I'm gonna line them up to the grid anyway, right? So let's do the same thing I did before. Let's actually keep this up for a second. Let's reverse this. I think the other ones are good. I don't need to reverse them. I like their direction. Cool. So what I'm actually going to do now is extrude this. Um, I'm actually deleting history as I'm going along, by the way. You might not see me doing it because I'm using the shortcut. So now that these are separate, I can merge these two just so that I can work with them easier. Control E, extrude. I could bring these out. I already have my measurement that I'm happy with, 0.15. Now, if I am using a much bigger model, as you can see here, I find that point 0.3 tends to work rather well, and 0.15 would actually be too thin. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to take these, right, these vertices. I'm going to come to an orthographic view, like over here, for example, right? I'm going to come over here, and I want to make sure that my vertices are going to be 100% touching the floor. So I'm going to set my align to grid, and let's just move everything up to the floor. Technically, this bike frame isn't directly laying on the floor because it is sitting on wheels, but this is just an example to show you exactly what I did do. So essentially, but for that scenario that I just mentioned, I would actually just raise these up and line these up at the bottom of the bike so that when I import them, everything's all lined up. But so this is gonna be lined up with that, assuming that your model is gonna be on the floor facing that, right? Now, what I like to also do, because this is going to be thin, is I'll add a extrude over here at the bottom, and just make it like really small, like to kind of like give it like a leg to stand on, if you will. Let me turn off this, right? Although when I do it, it would be 100% straight, like so, right? I could do that to this side too if I wanted to, right? Real quick. All right, make sure I'm going straight, right? So that so that when this prints, this my support has an extra bit of support. You know what I'm saying? And it's not going to bother the frame or anything that I'm doing, right? So that's pretty much, notice how I extruded from the edges so that when I break this off, it's only going to be in the edges, and it's going to be very easy to sand. Aligning to the edges, as you can see from the model I'm showing you, really does make a difference. So let me show you uh, another scenario that you'll come across where you might just have a really funky shape, and the best way to actually get it printed, it would essentially be a different orientation, like this, for example, right? So as you can see from the pic, I could print this lying down and try to get the top surface, adding more surface layers or doing a million different things, and it's just not going to come out as good as the side print is going to come out as if I was to lay it vertical, right? So this is exactly what I would do. Since I already made this piece a long time ago and I don't have the original orientation or the rotation to reset it, align it up, what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to take this, I'm going to export this, And I'm going to call this delete me because I know I'm going to be deleting it, right? And in my slicer, you'll be able to do this in Cura also. I do use Cura. I just use the Creality print to monitor the printers online because Cura doesn't do that. Well, at least it doesn't do it for my printers, right? So let me open that file. So this is where all of you guys are probably going to come in. So just imagine you're in Cura if you use Cura or any one of your slicing programs. Imagine that you've downloaded your model or you've made your model in Blender and you've imported into Cura. So now we're all starting from here, right? So what I would actually do is um, I would actually find the spot that I want to print from and set my model up that way. So I know I don't want to print from the sides because I have this extruding in the middle, right? I I know that I want to print from here. Now that's showing up yellow because I didn't triangulate this before I exported it and which is just the easy way to fix this, right? So I do want to print it like this, right? This is going to be this is going to give me the best print for this piece, right? But this, looks kind of crazy and this will probably fall. I mean, I don't know, it might not fall. But let's just say let's assume that it is going to fall, right? So I'm going to come back into my Maya, right? What I'm going to do is, right? I'm going to take these edges. Uh, that's why I hate working with triangles. Can get a little funky sometimes. Okay, so grid placement, and I'm gonna extrude. Make sure that I'm extruding in global, and I'm gonna pull this out like so, right? Cool. So what I'm actually gonna do now is the same thing that I've been doing. I'm gonna take this, and we are going to extract, grab each side, and I am going to flip it, mesh display, reverse. So now that that's done, I'm going to combine it, delete its history. Okay, cool. So now what I'm actually going to do is line this up so that it is symmetrical, making it as easy as possible for the printer. So I'm going to use this as my base vertice, right? So I'm just going to line these all up. Actually, there's two down here. Now you can eyeball this to however you feel your model, how wide of a support you're going to need. And so this is basically going to be my support for printing it in this direction, right? The only thing I have to do is make an extrude and 0.15 in Z so it breaks off nice and easy. And what I'm actually going to do here also, because they're thin, is I will add supports for my supports. Now, if you're using Cura, you can actually export this as a separate piece of geometry and then export this. And then when you're inside of Cura, you can set this to be the support in case you want to increase the infill to your main geometry without increasing the infill to the support that you made. And that's pretty much it. But as you can see from this print, way better. Now, there's a little bit more I can explain, but I think this kind of covers it. If anyone has any questions, I do not mind explaining, as I need as much help also, because I am a noob at 3D printing. I just happen to be really good at Maya, so thanks. And again, any questions, feel free to ask. If you'd like to see tutorials on how I basically put this bike together in the 3D print or how I will put together action figures or stuff like that. I am going to make some tutorials for some people that I know, so you should subscribe. And since I'm making it for them, you could check it out. Kill two birds with one stone. All right, everybody, enjoy your night, and I hope I hope this helps.